Hey guys, what's going on? Professor Headwreck coming at you with another video. Ironically, not too long after my last video. So, hey, I'm pumping out stuff a little bit closer together. I figured I want to do another top 5 video. In a way, what had spurred me to do this, and I honestly hadn't even really occurred to me. I was watching RetroDeath's last video about 10 years being on YouTube. And ironically, he had talked about Craig from TV and Lust, who had done a top 5 Super Nintendo game. He made his own response to that. So in turn, Tom, you know what? I'm going to make this is a response video for you for the top 5 Super NES games. This list is very similar to the way that I composed my. Actually, it's identical to the way that I composed my Nintendo, my classic NES list. It's not going to be games that, it's going to consist of games that I currently own, and that, games that I played as a kid, borrowed, rented, that I played non-stop. So very similar. Like I said, there's not going to be games on this list that I don't currently own now. If that were the case, right now, that list would be vastly different. For example, the one game that I would have liked to have been on this list would have been Contra 3: The Alien Wars. That was one that I rented constantly, played constantly. I don't currently own that, so it's not going to be on this list. And once again, the dog is in the video. Come on, Shelby, why don't you go lay down? Anywho, without further ado, I will jump right into the games. So, number 5, Street Fighter II. I was a big fan of this in the arcade, and when it finally got ported to the Super Nintendo, I was like uber excited. In fact, I think it was my last video I had talked about, going to the store. And I wanted to rent a game, and I had seen that they had got these in. They hadn't put them on the shelf yet, so I literally went home and I came back, and they finally put them out, and I rented this. I kept it for like probably 3 days straight. I mean, it was a 24-hour rental. I paid the late fee because I kept it, and it was one that I couldn't get enough of this game. It was just a fantastic fighting game. I mean, I pumped quarter upon quarter into the arcade version of this. So when it was ported to the home console, I was really excited. I mean, I had actually got this for Christmas of 1992, so I did own this game. And I still, even after I had already, I think, beat it with about 3 or 4 of the different characters, but even when I got it for Christmas, I would still beat it with those characters, and then I had mastered it with every single character. So I can actually say that I did beat this with every single playable character. And then it even transposed over into when Street Fighter II Turbo came out. I had to rent that quite a bit, and even Super Street Fighter II. After that, that was like 94, and that was kind of when I started kind of getting out of gaming for a while. But that's why, this is on there. This was a game that I played a lot. Next up, unfortunately, I do only own the cartridge of this, but Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in Time. I was playing this the other day, and actually I shouldn't even say the other day. It was a few weeks back. This is one that still has awesome repeat playability. The 2-player mode on it is phenomenal. Like, this is probably by far. I mean, the reason that this thing is going up in price so much, well, I mean, not only because I think people are kind of jacking the price up, artificially inflating it. I don't really know. I don't pay a whole lot of attention to that. All I know is if I have the money for the game and I think that it's a good buy, I'll purchase it. But this is a fantastic game. Definitely some of the absolute best replayability, great storyline, great graphics, great sound. Just in all, I think, personally for me, of all the Turtles games that I played, this one was the best. And before this came out, it was probably Turtles 2, the arcade game for the original NES. But Turtles in Time, this is still phenomenal. Still love this game. So, number 3 for me actually was Super Castlevania 4. Arguably the best of the Castlevania games. I didn't own this as a kid, but I did rent this a lot. And by a lot, I mean I would rent it on a Sunday, have it for a few days, take it back, and literally the following Sunday rent it again. It was kind of a thing. Because growing up in upstate New York, there's a chain of, not restaurants, I want to say restaurants, a chain of supermarkets called Wegmans. And at the time, Wegmans had the video rental place. That was actually where I had rented Street Fighter 2. After church, my dad and I would always go grocery shopping every Sunday. It was a kind of a ritual, and I would usually rent a video game, because actually at Wegmans, most places you went to rent a game was like $2 or $3. Wegmans, if you remember, 99 cents. You couldn't beat it. So I would rent this constantly. I have this on, I even downloaded this off the Virtual Console on the Wii U. It's that good. I still, to this day, I enjoy playing this. It's still my favorite Castlevania, and it's still, you know, one of my favorite platformers. Just, I love this game. Okay, number 2, I used to own the physical copy of this. You had actually seen it in my Super Nintendo Collection video. I no longer own the physical copy. I own digital download Super Mario World. I actually, not ironic, but a funny story. One of my close friends when I was growing up, his name was Tony Rosada. We had gotten back in touch with each other. We hadn't spoken for, God, almost 20 years. Got back in touch with each other via YouTube, and he was on his way, he's moving from Illinois to New Jersey. Well, living in Pennsylvania, state right in between, so he actually stopped. We visited, had some coffee, and visited here at the house, and he had told me he had recently purchased a Super Nintendo, and I gave him my copy of Super Mario World. So I digitally downloaded this. To be completely honest, this has got to be, in my opinion, the most perfect platforming game. I never get tired of playing this game. That's why it's, between this one and number 1 for my list, was a very hard choice, because I've played through this game so many times. It's perfect. To me, it is a perfect game. And I'm not just saying that to kind of mirror what Craig from TV and Less said it. He says, you know, like whenever they've released this for any platform, whether, you know, on digitally, he always downloads it. And I can see why, because honestly, it's just, to me, it's the superior Mario game. To me, it's better than Super Mario Bros. 3. Super Mario Bros. 3 did set the standard with Mario games, but to me, like, this raised the bar. And I mean, don't get me wrong. Super Mario Bros. U was good. Super Mario 3D Land was a fantastic game, but to me, they pale in comparison to Super Mario World. That's my opinion, though. I mean, if your favorite game of all time is Super Mario Bros. 3, that's great. This is my favorite Mario game. And I don't have a bad memory with this game. Just an absolutely phenomenal, phenomenal Mario game. And finally, number 1, and I'm sure it's probably not going to be a big surprise to anybody who has watched any of my videos or anything that I've talked about, but my number 1 is Final Fantasy II. I don't really know what else to say about this game that has not been said in any of my previous videos. Ironically, I'm actually playing through this again right now, and it still has that same feeling that it did 25 years ago, the first time that I ever played it, first time I ever watched it being played. So I think just for I might be being a little biased too because of the amount of nostalgia that I have with this game, but for me, this is another game that has such repeat play. I've played through this game, you know, quite a few times, and I never get tired of it. I still anticipate what's going to happen, so that's why for me this is number 1. And I think, like I said, because of probably being a little biased, it probably always will be because of just the great memories that surround this. I think when something is so ingrained in your memories and it's so good, you tend to be a little biased towards it. So yeah, there's my number 1. And finally, excuse me, my cough drop kind of is finally disintegrated in my mouth, and now my stuffiness is coming back in. My honorable mention, at least for the Super Nintendo, would be Pilot Wings. This was another game that my buddy Mike and I, we would rent this thing constantly. Never finished it, but it was one that we put a lot of hours in. And it's, even if you don't finish it, it's still fun. I mean, even if you're just dicking around and you don't pull the ripcord for the parachute mission, you splat on the ground, or you totally decide to be a dick and piss off your instructors. It's still a fun game. Another one that I possibly could have named on there, SimCity is a while it's not anything that's like overly complex, it's just that's a relaxing game. That could have very easily made it onto my list, but I actually played this a lot more. So I want to thank you guys again for sitting through this video. Once again, boom, in the comments, what are your top 5? Tom, I know you're probably going to respond to this. I know what your top 5 are. I'd have to watch your video again to refresh my memory on it. But once again, still a week out from not Thanksgiving, jeez. The cold medication's getting to my head. A week out from Christmas. I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I will hopefully be coming back at the new year with a new video for you guys. I want to actually touch on some metal stuff. And then like a quick disclaimer, I said in one of my last videos there were some YouTubers I wanted to go after. You know, the more that I thought about that, I don't want to. You know, I don't want to start drama. I don't want to start attacking people. That's not what my channel is about. It's not what I want it to be about. The one interesting thing about YouTube, and I'm going to kind of go off on a little tangent here. The one thing is it gives everybody has their own little private soapbox to stand up on and preach what they want. That's all well and good. The content of my channel is, you know, it's mainly video games. I've thrown some metal stuff in there, but I don't want to delve into things that are going to turn people off and push people away. So you're not going to hear me talking about things such as politics or religion. I've kind of made my stance on a little bit, or you know, kind of given an idea as to like where I stand. But I'm not going to ram it down people's throats, because quite honestly, I don't want it. When I go to a gaming channel, I want to hear about gaming. I don't want to hear about politics or religion. When I go, if I want that, I'll go look up something else. You know, I'll go to a news channel, or you know, a Christian channel. So anyways, guys, I will see you in the new year. Have a Merry Christmas. Later.